wanted to come on today and do another video on the Suzanne Morphew case. Suzanne was reported missing on May the 10th, Mother's Day of this year. There's been no arrests, no persons of interest named. A lot of people are speculating and saying that her husband, Barry Morphew, is involved. But at this point, we don't know. She's not been located. But I basically, like I said, I done the facts on yesterday's video. So I want to go through the speculation, rumors, the inconsistencies in this case on this video. So we know at this point that when she was reported missing, which was on May the 10th, and it was said that allegedly Suzanne had went on a bike ride. And that's something we really can't verify because no one's came forth and said that they saw her on that bike ride. Although I did find it interesting. I was looking back through the sheriff's announcements on the Facebook page, and I did see where they made a post, and it was on May 13th, and then they say on May 10th, 2020, the sheriff's office responded, and then they're talking about responded to the county road. But it goes on to read, investigation revealed that Suzanne Morphew, age 49, from Maysville, had gone for a bike ride in that area and had not returned home. So I guess that could be taken several different ways. Are they confirming that? Because it plainly says on the May 13th announcement that investigation revealed that Suzanne Morphew had gone for a bike ride. So again, other than that statement, there's really no one that we know of that's came forth that said, yes, I've seen her on that bike ride. So basically, my next point kind of to that is exactly when was Suzanne seen last. I do recall her brother, Andy Mormon, speaking with Dr. Phil and saying that the day before, someone, though he didn't say who, saw Barry and Suzanne getting a sandwich. So he goes on to say he believes that Suzanne was killed sometime after that time, after 4 p.m., So still, just up in the air, who saw her that day? Because another thing I've seen on the sheriff's Facebook page, as you can see here, they're asking the neighbors to preserve any video footage from devices, doorbell cameras, from May 8th through May the 12th. So 2 days before Suzanne was reported missing on May 10th. So they're asking for the residents, neighbors, to preserve the footage from May 8th through May the 12th. And so I'm very curious, when is the last time that someone actually saw Suzanne? All right, and let's go on to the next strange type of thing or rumor, suspicious thing. We've heard that tools that Barry was supposed to leave for his job, he actually did not leave those needed tools for the job. So that's another thing that's kind of makes you think, if he's referencing this job on Mother's Day, where are these tools? There's been a couple of employees that had came forth that said just the proper tools were not left for that job. Another thing, I know there's been a lot of talk about the hotel room. So basically, I've just heard so many contradicting things with that. And I actually, let me get this out here. I did see where another YouTube creator actually drove to that hotel. I guess she resides nearby. So she drove to that hotel, and she did say, and I'm sorry, I cannot remember her name, but she did say that as soon as she, pulled in that parking lot, she could smell chlorine, which I thought was very interesting because typically it's just not normal for the smell of chlorine to be that strong. And this was an indoor pool, not an outdoor pool. And I'll show you in some photos that area. But we also know that it was said, and Barry even said the room smelled of chlorine. So he also went on to say, it's either the pool or it was a washing agent for the hotel's linens. And hotels do wash their linens with bleach. So, but that chlorine smell, I'm pretty certain that's not going to come from the hotel linens. I'm almost positive on that. But, it is strange that hotel room smelled, and pretty much what was said was it was reeked, or the hotel room reeked of chlorine. So again, just a little strange on why that room would reek of chlorine. Typically in a hotel, a mixture is used that has peroxide in it. So, and then indoor pool hotels, you do smell the chlorine from the indoor pool, but it's typically not a smell that's going to get into the sleeping rooms. Of course, that would cause a lot of complaints on the guest part. So if you look at the hotel's reviews, if this, is true and this chlorine smell is getting into these guest rooms, then there's going to be complaints on the website, on the hotel's reviews of that. Guests do not want to smell a strong smell of chlorine as they're trying to relax and sleep in their room. And let me see what I have put up here on this screen. Yeah, I think this actually goes with something else on why he didn't join in the letter. Let me go ahead and pull up. There's the hotel, the outside exterior of the hotel, and it's an interior corridor hotel, which means the rooms are inside. The bathroom area is right here. The guest bedroom, and this is double bed. I obviously don't know if it was single or double occupancy with Barry on what he rented. This is the exterior again. It looks to be in the back, just a small sitting area. And here's their pool. So it looks like they have an indoor swimming pool and an indoor jacuzzi. So there's no doubt in my mind that the hotel would smell of chlorine, because it absolutely would when walking in the door, or there's a high possibility that it would smell of chlorine as you're walking through that front door. But again, that smell should not make it into the guest rooms. If it does, and this is something typical, I guarantee you, almost 100% positive, you're going to see reviews about this on either their page or one of the third-party booking sites like TripAdvisor, Expedia, but you're gonna see that. But it was also said, which was interesting, that their home also smelled of bleach. But again, this is just speculation. We do not know 100% certain. And then I was curious as far as the whole bike ordeal. So the bike was found, But who actually reported the bike? Who found the bike? What I've seen is it was George, the Army Ranger, preacher friend of Barry's, that he's the one that allegedly reported finding Suzanne's bike. But again, that's just what I've heard. So if you guys have heard anything different, please comment below. Like I said, I'm just going through the rumors that are out there, speculation, theories that are being played. So just kind of shooting those out there, just the different scenarios that have been gone through and the suspicious things that have happened in the case. And also, in regards to the site, there was, not that we know of anyway, there was no blood, no type of a disturbance that we've heard of. So regardless of whether it was an abduction or a mountain lion, you would think that there would be some type of disturbance at that scene, that we would see something there. And of course, we're hearing that they found a personal item, and that is actually on the sheriff's Facebook page. I think it was May the 15th that the sheriff made an announcement that they had found a personal item of Suzanne's outside of Maysville. And they just basically said that it's excuse me, that it's being targeted by investigators after they located what is believed to be a personal item of Suzanne's. But again, at this point, we do not know what that personal item is. It was reportedly said that it was 200 or more feet away from the bike. But again, I don't know. That's why I'm throwing it out here. I just don't know. Oh, and let's go back to the hotel room. I actually done a little bit more research on that. And this is the Holiday Inn information that I pulled up. The one that he allegedly stayed in with, and that he had his coworkers in. And this is the rates for now. I don't know what the rates were for Mother's Day, but it's an average of $99 plus tax a night right now. And check-in time is 3 o'clock p.m., which is pretty standard for hotels. Typically, it's anywhere between 2 and 4 p.m. Checkouts, 11 a.m. Again, pretty standard for hotels. Typically, checkouts between 11 and 12. But I also want to note, as far as the hotel, there's so many of us wanting to know the specifics. Hotels are not allowed to give out specifics. And I think I had said it somewhere. I don't know if it was in a video or on a comment. But basically, if I'm staying at a hotel and someone calls and wants to know what room I'm in, they are absolutely 100% not allowed to ever give out a room number. And most hotels by law cannot even say, oh yes, so-and-so staying here. The caller would have to know that that person is staying at the hotel and ask for that person. But that's the extent of it. They can, the hotel clerk can transfer you to that room, but they cannot give you information as far as the guest information, the check-in time, the checkout time, etc. They are not allowed to do that. And also, I've read some things about early check-in, and I can pretty much confirm 100% most hotels will let you check in early. So although the check-in may not be until 2 or 3 o'clock, the majority of hotels, if the room is available, if it's clean, they will check you in, let you check in, as long as it's after 8, 9 o'clock a.m. And so if Barry or whoever would have showed up at the hotel at 10, 11, 12 o'clock a.m., they would have let him check in early as long as that room was available and clean, ready to check into. And again, I'm certain about this. The majority of the hotels do this. And this is just, what I had put or spoke about just a minute ago about the bike. So that's Barry, and I think this was in Tyson's video, telling Tyson that the bike was found at the bottom of the hill. But again, who actually found the bike? Was it George? At this point, we really don't know who found the bike. But I have heard that George allegedly, and that's the Army Ranger, and I think they had said the preacher friend again of Barry, that he is the one, and maybe that it was mangled is the word that he had used. Sorry guys, my throat's getting dry. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm sorry, a sip of tea. Bear with me and we'll talk about the neighbor. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so we do know that a neighbor came forth, and she said that she heard a loud, strange noise coming from next door at the construction site late on May the 9th. But at this point, we do not know what time. So, I've heard late at night and I've heard middle of the night. If it was late at night, I could completely see 11:30 p.m. as being late at night. If it was in the middle of the night, I guess if you go to bed really early, you could consider 11:30 middle of the night. I wouldn't. I would think more 2-3 o'clock a.m. if someone were to tell me they heard a noise in the middle of the night. But it's strange, again, just one of those strange things in this case, that the neighbor heard this loud noise. And again, we do not know the time. I've heard it could have been 11 p.m. I've heard it could have been 1:30, 2 o'clock a.m. So, of course, we all want to know what time was this heard, but we just don't know. But it's just strange that this sound went on for at least 30 minutes next door, at this construction site. So, just again, another strange occurrence. What was going on over there that night, in the middle of the night, or late at night, the day before Suzanne was reported missing? We don't know at this point, but I'm anxious. I really wish Barry would speak out and just kind of give us some answers to these questions that we all have. And I know, it's really, he doesn't have to speak to us. Absolutely not. But hopefully, he spoke to law enforcement and let them know. Another thing I'm wondering is about the vigil. I've heard Barry did not attend. Why did he not attend? This is his wife that's missing. So I find it very strange that Barry didn't attend. It's just, that's very strange. Very suspicious to me. And again, I just, with Barry being so, sorry guys, with Barry being so quiet throughout this whole entire time, why is he not out there pleading for his wife's safe return? They've been married almost 30 years, and he's not out there pleading for her safe return. Instead, he's staying silent, and that to me, I don't understand. And let's move on. Another thing I've heard is about a phone call, or I think it was actually a text, and I've brought this up. I've seen this again as just a theory, but the call, or text that was abruptly just stopped by Suzanne to one of her friends. Now, I will say, in my opinion, it's really not uncommon for me personally to just stop texting one of my friends, just, cut it off even though we were conversing about something. I'll just stop and get back to it at a later date. But, maybe that's not typical of Suzanne. So somebody wrote, her theory here about that text that kind of just ended abruptly per Suzanne's friend when her and Suzanne were texting. But this person wrote that, maybe Suzanne was texting with this friend and she had texted with her prior and knew it was just something out of the ordinary. Maybe even, Suzanne saying something that didn't make sense. So this person has a good point. We just don't know exactly what transpired, what was in this text. All we know is we're hearing that there was a text between Suzanne and her friend, and Suzanne just abruptly stopped replying back. So again, we don't know any more to that. So it would be nice to know, why her friend seemed so concerned with that. And the next thing, and I've not read this till recently, but it's been reported that Barry had been seen around town with 2 employees who have elected to stay silent. Again, just kind of strange that any of the employees are keeping silent. But then again, if like not Lauren, I'm sorry, I put her picture up here. If like Morgan had said, she was terminated because she spoke with law enforcement and was cooperating with law enforcement, maybe these 2 gentlemen, maybe they're scared of losing their job, and that's why they're not speaking. But I just can't imagine Barry not wanting anyone to speak with law enforcement. That's just strange to me that he wouldn't want all this information out there. But anyway, let's move on. Lauren Schorf. So she's the one that I'm understanding has really been on top of the case, covering it. Actually had that phone call with Barry. The phone call's not been released, but she has spoken of it. But I've also seen where she was unable to attend, I think, one of Suzanne's vigils. So I kind of thought that was a little strange that she had written something that came up. And, I don't know, maybe it was an emergency. But again, just kind of strange that considering all the time she spent on this case, that she couldn't attend. So that just another thing that's kind of caught my attention in this case. One more thing that's been making its rounds on social media as of recent is it's been reported that Barry phoned his father-in-law 2 weeks, I think it was 2 weeks after Suzanne's disappearance, and he said, quote, air quote, "I loved your daughter," past tense, loved. It doesn't look like, and quote again, it doesn't look like she's coming back home or back. Can you sign papers? Which is really strange. It just, not only the past tense, but if it were in fact 2 weeks, and if I've read incorrect information, please let me know. But I read that it was 2 weeks after Suzanne went missing, and that's just no time at all. So I'm not understanding, if this is true, accurate information, why would Barry, number one, use past tense, loved your daughter, but why would he call his father-in-law, Suzanne's dad, and ask him to sign papers and make the comment that it doesn't look like she's coming back? That's just not something you say to a dad who has a missing daughter. Just very suspicious, in my opinion. And back to Morgan, we're also hearing Morgan say, so we do know for a fact she said this, but again, it's strange. She's saying Barry was outside of her apartment in his truck, and she knew it was his truck by the way it sounded, around 4 a.m. And she reportedly went outside, or I guess she got ready real quick and went outside, and then he was gone. So that, to me, just again, strange. Why automatically assume that it's Barry's truck is my question. There could be, there's millions of trucks that sound alike. So why make that assumption that it's Barry's truck? I mean, it just sounded like she was saying as if this were factual information, and I don't understand, unless she saw that truck, how she could say that it was Barry's, because to me it sounded like she was speaking fact that it was Barry's truck. Instead of, oh, it sounded like Barry's truck, she was saying that it was his truck, and I don't understand that. Just how would she know that it's Barry's truck without actually seeing the truck outside? But nonetheless, if it was his truck outside, it's very suspicious, very strange that he would be out there outside of her apartment at 4 a.m. And another thing that's strange is the access to Suzanne's Facebook account. That someone, Andy, and this came from Andy Mormon, Suzanne's brother's interview with Dr. Phil, that someone was logged into Suzanne's Facebook account that night, or the night before she was reported missing, and friending all of these guys from Indiana who were Andy's age. So, I don't know if this information came from law enforcement. I don't know where Andy got that information from. But very strange that someone was on Suzanne's account friending guys Andy's age the night before she's reported missing. And I want to speak a minute about the fire training. I had mentioned a little bit about it yesterday, and I know many are saying that Barry, or it was said at first that Barry was on fire training, and the only place I've seen that is here at the Daily Mail, and I actually done a screenshot on the article, and it says, this again, Daily Mail, at the time her husband Barry Morphew was reportedly 150 miles away in Denver at a training course for volunteer firefighters. So, this here, I've not heard it. I've always heard Barry maintain, as he did with Tyson on Tyson's recording, that he was in Denver. So, I don't know if the Daily Mail, if that who started this firefighter training rumor, but I do think it was just basically an internet rumor just that blew up. But I've never heard Barry say himself that he was at any type of training course for firefighters. I've only heard, again, the interview where he spoke with Tyson right here.
Upset that first night, but I was in Denver, so
oh, you were?
I didn't get here until 9 o'clock that night.
Yeah.
And my friend's an Army Ranger, and he knows.
So again, in Denver, and that's what I've heard. I've only heard Denver from Barry. So, it's interesting, and it's crazy how internet rumors can just spread like fire, just, go all out. But Daily Mail did pick it up, and I know Daily Mail is not a real accurate source when it comes to news reportings, but hey, I will say they do get some things right before other outlets. But yeah, I don't think that is something, or I've never heard Barry personally say that. I've always heard Barry maintain that he was in Denver. So again, let me know your thoughts. Have you heard that? Have you heard differently? Have you heard Barry say or that he was on this training? Because I have not. But let's go on to the next thing. The shop owner. We know for a fact she came forward. She said that Barry left and knocked on her window, left her this note: baby blue bike helmet, biking clothing, which is a very, very strange note to begin with. It's really not a descriptive note. And so for Barry, if he did in fact give her this note, it's just very strange. And I'm sure I don't know. I don't know what to think about this, because I would hate to think somebody would come forward saying, oh, Barry gave me this note, and even supply the note, and it actually didn't happen. But why was Barry he just didn't give a lot of details in this note? Why this short little note that we have here? But let me know your thoughts on it. I do want to go over the security cameras real quick too. And I'm just about done with this speculation, rumor, theory video. But plus my throat is getting so dry from talking. But the cameras, at this point, we do not know. We know that the home has cameras, and I've actually done a screenshot of the description, and some of the websites actually have where the home has security, and others do not have the security listed. But I would say the home definitely has security cameras, and it is listed in one of the real estate ads. So I would definitely say yes, it does. As far as if they were working or not, I've heard different things. So, well, no, actually I have not. I've only heard that they did not work. So I've heard different things as far as on the reasoning why. I've heard they went out the day before, and I've heard that the cameras were never, I guess, transferred over, hooked up to the new security once they moved into that home. So, we don't know at this point. All we know is the home does indeed have a security system, but we do not know if those cameras were actually working or not when Suzanne went missing. So it'll be interesting, to find out, were the cameras working? We don't know, but I hope we get answers soon. I hope Suzanne's found soon so the family can get closure. But that's really all I wanted to go after or over in this case. I did want to show, this is actually the cleaner and disinfectant that hotels use. And I've got two different cleaners and disinfectants that hotels use for their cleaning in their public areas and their guest rooms. And as you can see, well, maybe you can't, but let me maximize it. It looks like, I guess, ammonia maybe that's in here, but regardless, it's not a strong scent at all in these cleaners. But this is one of the cleaners that hotels use in cleaning. And again, the active ingredients. And here's another, the peroxide multi-surface cleaner. And this is basically wiping down everything in the room, the bathroom counters, the tubs. So again, no chlorine. These 100% are at least one of the cleaners that most chain hotels use, such as Holiday Inns, Comfort Inns, Fairfield Inns, hotels, most chain hotels. But these are from Ecolab, but again, it's not bleach. So the whole bleach smell, chlorine smell, as I said earlier on in the video, if the room did in fact smell this strong of bleach, or I'm sorry, of chlorine, and this was typical for this hotel, then you're going to see this on the guest reviews at this specific hotel in Broomfield. You're going to see guests complaining about this. And I actually have not went on and looked at their reviews, so, but I'm going to do that just to see, but you guys have a look and let me know, is there any speculations, theories, suspicions that I've left out? Let me know in the comments.